Hello. In this example, geologists sometimes measure the age of rocks by using atomic clocks. By measuring the amounts of potassium-40 and argon-40 in a rock, it is possible to find the age T of a specimen in years with the following formula that I'm going to skip over for now, where A and K are the numbers of numbers of atoms of argon-40 and potassium-40 respectively in the specimen. How old is a rock in which A equals 0, in other words, argon 40, there is none of it, and the potassium 40 actually does exist, in other words, K is greater than 0. That's A. B is the ratio of A over K for a sample of granite from New Hampshire is 0.212, and we want to know how old is the sample. Okay, let's talk about A real quick. A is actually a lot simpler than it looks. So T equals 1.26 times 10 to the ninth power times natural log of 1 plus 8.33 times A, in this case, is 0, but I don't know what K is. So I'm just going to leave it as K, all over the natural log of 2. Now, this all looks scary. Most people are afraid of it, but it's actually not that bad. Work from the inside out of the numerator. Notice that 0 divided by anything that's not 0 is 0. So this value here is 0. And 0 times anything, this 8.33 in this case, is 0. So what I'm left with here is 1 plus 0, which is 1. But notice that it's the natural log of 1. What's the natural log of 1? Well, it's 0, so all of that is 0. Natural log of 2 is not 0, but I don't really care what it is because I have 0 in the numerator. So 0 divided by anything is 0. So this entire fraction here is 0. So what that tells me is that anything, this 1.26 times 10 to the ninth, times 0 is 0. Now, if your age is 0, how old are you? Well, that means that you're brand new. That means that you're 0 years old. So, the age is 0 years old. And yes, that is an R. There you go. Now, that's A. Let's look at B. B is T equals 1.26 times 10 to the ninth power times the ratio of the natural log of 1 plus 8.33 times A over K, which in this case is 0.212. So 0.212. And then all over the natural log of 2. This is what I have to type into the calculator. And honestly, a lot of people get freaked out about this. And the reason that they do so is that they're not used to seeing all this at the same time. I'm going to show you a couple of different ways of doing this. Now, the first way is to just type it in exactly the way it looks if your calculator will let you. If you bought your calculator probably in the last year or two, it probably does this on its own. So let's just type it in. So I have a parentheses, 1.26 times 10 to the ninth power. Now notice I need to press the right arrow before I close my parentheses. Otherwise it puts the parentheses in the numerator and it doesn't register the parentheses for over here. Now I need this fraction here, and this fraction is alpha y equals enter, but I'm not going to do it yet because I want a parentheses, because otherwise it puts this in the numerator. So if I do that, I do alpha y equals enter now, and it gives me the fraction. In the numerator, I have natural log. Now notice it already does the parentheses. 1 plus 8.33 and then times, or in other words parentheses, 0.212. Close that one, and then that's just for this parentheses, so I still need to close that parentheses right there. So I do one more parentheses. Go down to the denominator, and that gives me the natural log of 2. So ln 2, close parentheses. If I go right one more, I can close the parentheses for this entire fraction, which means I can click enter, and it gives me the value. I'm not going to worry about the value just yet. I'm going to show you another way of figuring this out. What you need to do is you need to break this up into smaller pieces. So I would start out with the fraction and start out with the numerator. So what you can do is you can type in the natural log of 1 plus 8.33 times 0.212 into the numerator, or just into the calculator period. So the natural log of 1 plus 8.33 times 0.212, and then close that and click enter. Now that's just this part right here. Now I need to divide it by the natural log of 2. So divided by, now notice that if I just click divided by, it says A and S. What that means is that this previous answer is what's right there. In other words, I don't need to type it in. So you would not need to type in 1.017387772 and then divided. And you don't want to do that anyway because this is technically a rounded number. By doing just the division here and having it say A and S, you're getting this entire value in there. So we're going to go ahead and divide that by the natural log of 2. And then click enter. Now notice that this entire thing is 1.467780293, rounded obviously. And then I need to multiply that by this 1.26 times 10 to the 9th. So if I simply say times, now notice it says A and S star, times 1.26 times 10 to the 9th power. Now I don't need to put this in parentheses because all of this is multiplication. If there was addition anywhere in here, I would need to go ahead and use parentheses. Click enter, and hey look, it's the same value I got. So that's going to be my answer. Put this off to the side. Now that value that you were given is 1849403.169. I'm going to put the commas where they need to go. And notice that this is the ones place, the thousands place, the millions place, and the billions place. So what that means is if you have a rock sample with a ratio of 0.212 of argon to potassium 40, the age of the rock is 1,849,403,169 years old. So the rock is 1,849,403,169 years old. And again, notice I'm answering these in sentences because this is a word problem.